Good day, ladies and gents. I hope we are all good. Welcome to our daily deriv synthetic indices analysis. So, yesterday we didn't take any trades on a Monday. Today's Tuesday, and we are looking forward to be active in the markets. So, we're going to start off with C1000. I still believe we're going to push up to this red line you see here at 3760. 3760. That's a resistance area there where price will potentially go to. But at the same time, we saw with this push up, price sort of slowed down here, and we're still trading within last week's range. So let's see what the daily chart has got for us. So on the daily, with the price reacting off the 13 EMA, right? 13 EMA reaction again. On the bottom side, you see we've got a nice support which was retested once, and I'm still open to see price potentially coming back here because we got the 1350 cross, but we never had price interacting with the 50 EMA. So we are still open to see price come down here before they continue push up. That's just like a possibility of what could potentially happen. So going to H4, you'll notice now that we've got a setup cooking there for a short-term sell, which could be possible again. So from last week's highs, so from last week's highs, you can see price, this was last week's high. This is the weekly range from last week, which we're talking about. So we're still trading within that range, meaning that price can potentially push down to the bottom of the range, or they can come up to the top, then push down. But we won't buy until price breaks above this level and retests, right? For those who buy crash, but personally, I don't buy the crash. I only look for sells. Hence, I'm leaning to take a sell setup here. So I feel like this price might potentially push down. Already you can see price is past or has broken a structure here, so that's like my safe sell area. What I need now for me to actually sell this is a retracement and a continuation to the downside. But again, this is a short-term trade, right? This is a short-term trade just because I feel like on the weekly we're still leaning on buys. So dropping down again to the 30-minute time frame, what we have here, we've got our nice peak at the top there. Then we've got the order block here, which has been broken. So hence I'm leaning on a sell on this particular asset. Dropping down to M15, same applies, a peak and the order block broken. So I'm looking forward to actually sell this asset. But I'm also looking at this. You see, this is the day before yesterday's, was it the high? Let's see, or the low. Let's see. It was actually the high. So this was also yesterday's high. So this whole zone, it looks like price is now below the zone. So that gives me a sell bias. The only thing I'm looking for now is a potential entry for a short-term sell. So as we continue dropping down to the time frames, I'm just checking on my phone quickly. So I want to see where exactly I'm going to enter this trade. So this is C500. Okay, I'm already short. Well, I've been short on C500 on my other account. I think this was updated in the group maybe a day or two ago, because yesterday we didn't take any active trades, but I'll confirm. But if you are not active on this trade, I would advise getting ready to pull the trigger right now, because this price, in my view, looks like we could potentially sell. So 3603, 3630. Right, I'm going to open one runner. It's CMP, and as we do the zoom, we'll just see if that position is going to pair. So we only have one position based on this safe zone broken and price breaking below the range which I just showed you. So we've got one sell at current market price, and for now the take profit is open. We're trading below the 50 EMA, we're trading below the 13 EMA. So potentially I'm looking for a reaction here for price to actually push down. So we only have one runner. The reason being this price can still decide to push up. So we want to manage that loss, keeping in mind that the weekly can be bullish, so they can overpower these smaller time frames. But at the same time, on the smaller time frames, I've got a short-term sell pattern, hence I've got a runner. So let's just see how the 20-minute time frame is looking like. Okay, right, so I'll be happy with that runner there for now. So if you are in this trade, one sell at current market price, let's see how the dealer plays along there. I think this was Sunday on the far left here. I'm just going to remove these items here. You can see we also had a short-term sell on Sunday. Yesterday we had no sell. The dealer has extended the high, liquidity taken. Short term, at least if we can get to here, that would be cool. Excuse me, if we can get at least 30 pips on this trade or on this runner, then that will be perfect. So that's my current view on C5. We're going to leave it there on the 20-minute time frame. So going to the weekly, also going to C1000, the weekly, what do we have here? It looks like price could potentially be delivered to the downside. With the way I'm looking at it, TDI, nice baseline bounce right on the 50 level, hangman candle right on the 13 EMA. So I would say here I'm leaning on a sell bias. Let's see if the smaller time frames agree. The daily has reacted off this resistance level here. I'm looking forward for price to potentially sell back to the zone, but be in mind, I think we had buys happening here. Okay, this sell can potentially play out or it might not, but my bias is still leaning on sells. The reason why I'm saying so is because I remember when we were trading around here, looking forward for price to come to this zone, they already came there and tapped. So now, could they be coming to this zone to then continue pushing up? That's a possible play on C1000. Okay, so let's just check the 4 hour leaning on sales, leaning on sales. Nice rejection of that resistance break of structure. Okay, so we're leaning on sales. I'll still go with the sales here. So if you notice from yesterday, after taking out liquidity up here, price then continued to drop, broke a structure aggressively, nicely here, giving us a nice sell at midnight here. Then this price, I'm anticipating this leg to continue dropping. So this is the setup we have. So this also looks like a reaction here. So can we get a sell here? Yes, we can. But at what point does the sell become invalid? Maybe if we come back above this zone, we want to see how the price acts. They can still come back into the supply zone as well. So these are H1 supply zones. If we're going down, we're only looking for supply zones, right? So let's see, we can potentially get a sell here. Potentially get a sell. Remember from the higher time frame, this is a zone where we can actually target price to eventually get to, which will be 6015. If we break 60.95, we will most likely get to 60.15. So this range here is my sell range. Of course, we might get an entry here, but for this to be confirmed, we need to break this level here. Then as soon as we break, I'm looking forward for price to come to this range. That would be my setup for now. So this is the safe sell area, 60.95. Then around this area, I want to see also if we can get a potential maybe sell limit zone. It could be current market price. Can the dealer extend today's highs? Yes, they can. If you've been trading synthetic indices for a while, you will know that these guys can literally do anything due to the high volatility of these synthetic indices. Same applies. You can see yesterday we had a nice price action here, and price started actually being delivered to the downside. But all of a sudden, we had this push up, taking out the current day's high. Then price created a fresh pattern. I was actually watching this, and they didn't get into my zone. Then they broke this. Then I had a fresh order block here. Then the sell setup happened here. So I was just talking and marking to see how the price would move. So never rule out whatever you think can happen can actually happen. So they might decide to come take out liquidity or to take out today's highs and extend them. So they will potentially come here. Then a fresh pattern will form. If they happen to do that, then we'll definitely take the trade maybe somewhere in here, and we'll scale in here, and we'll still continue to hold until the price gets to the destination. That's a possible play. So for now, I'll say I want to keep stalking on this, and I'll advise you guys on the Telegram group if there's any entry within this range at the top here. But otherwise, let's use 60.95 as our sell range, from 60.95 to 60.15. That's how I'm looking at it. So just quickly taking a glance at C5 as well. So we've got an order block here. That's a spike, possible spike zone there on 3609. Spike zone on 3609. Let's see if it's going to hold. So we are done with C1. C3 has been selling pretty much nicely, reacting off the 13 EMA on the weekly there. If we drop down to the daily, you can see it's been 3 days of a nice drop. No retracement to retest there. And we just had a fake out outside this range. We had like a couple of days ago, we had that range. Price broke out, came to interact with the 50. Then from there, they just started selling. So this is already in motion. Can we get a trade? Yes, we might, but there's so much acceleration in such a way that getting an entry right now might be tricky. But the only visible supply zone which I can see on this particular trade is this one. So if we get a retracement to around 3016, then I might consider selling this. But as you can see from the time they started dropping right at the beginning of the week, which was Sunday, they never looked back. It's just been a drop, slowing down, a little sideways movement, then a continuation. So right now we've had an impulsive move. So let's wait and see what they will do. If they pull back to that zone, we'll see. If the zone holds, then we can take this over. Otherwise, the larger part of this particular asset has moved already. B1000 rejecting the 13 on the 30 EMA on the weekly, rejecting a support zone on the daily. These are all zones we marked a few days ago. We even looked for rejections right at the top here. If you were following all our daily sessions, you remember we're looking for rejections here, but we were still open for price to come down here because we were still trading below the 13. So we've got our bounce. Looks like we're pushing up. We might have missed the entry. Let's see how 4 hours looking like. Nice push down, retracement. Oh, I remember yesterday I mentioned just mark, trade, run your fib, and you see price retracing back to the 50 level, which is what is happening now. So for those who were trading B1000 yesterday, I sort of gave you guys a hint on what to actually anticipate and what to look for those who were in buys, because I remember there were guys who were actually buying. So I hope you took this trade and this push up. I'm looking at it as a retracement to the push down. So the target would have been the 50 level and the price is almost there. So let's just remove this fib. You see that zone is where these lines are, or near the 200 EMA. So price can still continue being bullish here. That's a possibility as well. Let's see here. We are back above this zone. M30. We've tapped on the 200 EMA with a nice baseline bounce. So yes, the price can continue pushing up, but I would have preferred getting into this trade while they were here, right here. That would have been the perfect entry, especially with price respecting that demand zone there, that 30-minute demand. So right now they can potentially push up. Where can we enter? I do not have an entry, and I feel like price is approaching the daily zone where we say they could get to. At the same time, if we happen to pull back into yesterday's highs right here like this, I might consider taking a buy. I might consider taking a buy. That's if price just starts to retrace from where it is and comes here right now. I might consider taking a buy, especially if I get a name and book candle respecting that zone. So my point of interest is yesterday's high area for B1000, and that will be around 13,755. Around 13,755. That's the only point of interest I have where I can potentially buy from, using this zone as a buying zone. Then the stop loss will be at 13,740. So it will be like a 15 pip stop loss. Take profit if it can be 50 pips. That's perfect. 1:3 risk to reward ratio. That will be perfect for this particular setup. Anything else which might happen, I would have to see if I can take the trade. But for now, that is my current view. Going to B5. B5 continued being bullish the whole of last week. Started this week being bullish as well. So you can see they've been bullish for the longest of time. Swing traders, I hope they caught this here because we're very active here. But I got discouraged in here because of this price action. I wasn't sure whether they were still coming up because they were looking like they wanted to reject here. So at some point, I stopped trading B5 totally because I was not happy with the price action. But as we always see, B5 is just unpredictable at times. I don't like the way it moves. Right, so you can see eventually they ended up breaking and retesting. This was last week. I stopped trading somewhere in here because I kept entering, getting taken out, kept entering, getting taken out, kept entering and getting taken out. I was like, you know what, let me just leave this asset, protect capital. Then as soon as I decided to take a step back, they just accelerated up. So that was a miss. And looking at it for this week, I don't really have a point of interest because price might potentially be now reversing, especially after setting this peak. You can see a structure has been broken here. So I might consider buys, short-term buys, if we come above this zone though. If you come above 55.45, if you come above 55.45, I might consider buys. But I'm strongly disagreeing with the buys because if you notice, even TDI, where the squeeze break out to the bottom, showing volatility coming to the downside, so they might as well as start coming down. So I'm not really keen on that one, but I'll consider a short-term buy if they do break above that red line there. So that's my view would be 500. Then going to J10. Let's see what J10 has got for us. Okay, so weekly, nothing to write home about. You can see the past 2.5 weeks, price is sort of trading within the same area, same range. We're not yet clear of the directional bias here. So I wouldn't really bank much on trading this until maybe we come outside last week's range. So I want to mark the bottom. 84,125. Excuse me, 84,125, 84,125 is the bottom range. Then I want to use 86,645 as the top range. So as long as we don't break outside those that last week's range, I'm not yet trading this. I still want to get some volume into the market before I can be active. Same applies with V2501S. You can see here it's more or less the same. I'm just said here because my markings disappeared for some reason. But anyways, there's nothing much. Price sort of moving sideways for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, almost 10 weeks of price moving sideways. So I also don't have anything too solid here until price breaks out of the range. But I'm sure scalpers can get something in that range. So let's just see how the daily is looking. Because if you drop down within that range, you might get something. So on the daily, you can see this is the range I'm talking about. All this range here since January, actually, we haven't had anything too solid. 2 full months of price moving within a tight range. Even though scalpers can get something or day traders can get something, in terms of directional bias, I do not have anything too solid. But at the same time, again, if you look at this particular candlestick pattern here, nice bearish engulfing there, then price sort of trickled to the downside. It looks like it might be the same thing happening here right on the 15 EMA, so we might get price trickling to the downside as well. So that could work as a scalping bias to look for possible sells. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I'd rather wait. Because even on the H4, you can see price hasn't really been going anyway in terms of big movement. This was the daily chart which I just mentioned, where price started to trickle down after taking out this liquidity. They had a reason to sell, even though they're still within that range. So here it looks like we took out liquidity as well, and we could potentially trickle to the downside. So that's a possible play. So what's the point of interest here if we are going to consider maybe short-term sells? I've got a fair value gap right there. If price trickles into that zone, I might consider sells. Short-term though, I might consider sells. So that's a point of interest, and I'm going to leave this one on the 4-hour chart. So apart from this, I don't think I've got anything else, guys. That's all for today. The only trade I have running would be the C5 trade. So I just want to see how they handle this area here. Where will the stop loss go? Stop loss can simply go outside this range, or maybe outside this yesterday high range to be safe. But this is perfect in terms of rest of what, just outside this range would be perfect. Those in the group always ask if you say always the stop loss. Usually stop loss, it's either 10 to 15 pips on average on every synthetic trade we take, or outside the range either on M5, M10, M20, or M15, maybe M30. The last high you see if you're selling, that's usually where we put our stoppers. So if they do come above here, then this runner will be taken out, and we'll just watch to see how this price wants to move. So remember, the weekly is still potentially bullish. That's why we didn't go in too hard. We just got one runner to get our emotions involved in this trade. So let's see how it goes. That's the only current trade I have at the moment. So I'll simply keep track of how it moves. C1 keeps talking. C3, we're waiting for them to come to that zone. B5, potential retracement, then we can buy. B1, they are potentially in a reversal, so they're selling. That means we won't have any trade for now. J10 will trade only after they come out of this weekly range. In the 4-hour on V250S, we'll wait for that price to get into that fair value gap, then potentially we might sell. So that's it for today, guys. I hope today's session was helpful. If you've got your own views, or if you've got questions, feel free to ask in the Telegram group, because for deriv, we've got a group for this. So just jump in the group. If you cannot write your question in the comments, you can still hit me up in the Telegram. Then we can discuss your views or any other setups you might have. So wishing everybody a peaceful week. Good trading.